with Mo and News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it, my dear friends. From politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled. From morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Good morning, everyone. It is January the 16th, and we have got a lot of news for you, a lot of things going on in the world, but let's get through welcoming you guys into the Church of Mo this morning. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing all of your Modly Mod stuff. Good morning, Christine and Carol Sue. Good morning, Penny Williams, Alice G, and Spirit Matter. Welcome, Janie J and Tammy Bogard. Welcome, everyone. We have a heroic first story, and he is also the goodest boy ever. So definitely need to put this story first, regardless of what's going on in the world. What we know about Canine Rocky, a U.S. Marshal canine was wounded in a search for Brazoria County deputies' suspected killer. So this is the goodest dog, and I do have my scepter for the goodest dog ever, Canine Rocky. You rule, we crown thee. In the Church of Mo, you shall always be known as Saint Rocky now. There you go. We just had to get the formalities out of the way, but then we can get into the story, because he is the goodest boy. A suspect wanted a connection to the shooting death of a Brazoria County Sheriff's deputy, Jesus Vargas, was himself shot and unalived after a shootout with law enforcement Wednesday. The suspect, 56-year-old Robert Lee Davis III, was reportedly found hiding in a dumpster near the same area where the deputy was shot and killed hours earlier. The U.S. Marshal Canine found Davis inside the dumpster and was shot twice by the suspect, once in the neck and another graze wound to his nose. Law enforcement fired at Davis, striking him multiple times, and he passed away at the scene. But I do want you guys to see this. These police are rushing this heroic dog to get life-saving help. He is in stable condition right now, but they life-flighted him to the vet. And they better have, because all of us fur mamas were going to beat their behinds if they didn't. Allegedly in Minecraft. And welcome, Dan Ciego. Yes, we run our puppers to safety and we get them help, especially when they're brave boys. The canine, known as Canine Rocky, Houston Mayor John Whitmore tells KPRC2 that Rocky is a 1.5-year-old Belgian Malinois, and he has 6 months in the service. And Christine, congratulations. You guys check out Christine's birthday stream. Let's go over there and wish her a wonderful happy birthday. Let me put that down on my handy dandy notepad of don't forget stuff, Mo, because I will if I blink, but I will write that down because I will forget things if I don't write them down. After the shooting, dramatic video captured KPRC by KRPC2 shows Canine Rocky being carried by multiple law enforcement officers to a nearby helicopter to be taken to a veterinarian. Canine Rocky was taken to Westbury Animal Hospital, where he is said to be in stable condition. According to the U.S. Marshals, Rocky will survive his injuries. They're part of our existence as a police department, as law enforcement in general, whether it should be bombs, be it drugs, you name it, saving lives. Those dogs are amazing and they're part of us, Houston Police Chief Noel Diaz said in a news conference after the manhunt came to an end. So wonderful, wonderful, good story. Glad that Canine, Rocky is good, but my heart goes out to Deputy Jesus Vargas's family. I know that you know the reality when you have a first responder, in your family, but I can't imagine their pain they're dealing with to have lost a loved one so tragically and violently. So hopefully they are also getting all the support the community can muster. Well, I'm I'm realistically optimistic, which means I'm somewhat pessimistic about this, but I do hope that I'm entirely wrong about this and optimism is the way to go. But it does look like there has been an agreement between Hamas and Israel for a ceasefire. Now, the Israeli parliament still has to ratify and appeal anything that they don't like in this particular agreement. That should be fast tracked, but this is still, we have an agreement by both parties. They have to, I guess, go back to their sides and sell it there, but the two parties have agreed. These are the American hostages that are expected to be released. As I have always told you guys, I am not a geniusologist on the entire Middle East. I know barely enough to write a very small pamphlet, so I don't generally give my opinions, but let's do look at the Americans that could be released. At least two American hostages are expected to be freed from Hamas in the first phase of a newly announced ceasefire deal between the group and Israel. Sakui Delkin Chen, 36, and Kenneth Segal, 65, who were both included on a list of 33 hostages that Hamas agreed to free if the deal revealed Wednesday is ratified by the Israeli government when it convenes on Thursday morning. They are believed to be among the last three surviving Americans still held by Hamas. So this is Keith. This is Aiden Alexander. Aiden Alexander, a 20-year-old from New Jersey, is also still believed to be alive, but is unlikely to be released until the second phase of the ceasefire deal. For other Americans, Aitin Chen, Omar Nitra, Gadi, and Judy Haggai have been confirmed dead, according to Israelis. Surviving Americans, their conditions remain unclear. The first wave of hostages expected to be released are supposed to focus on women, children, and men over 60, also the sick and wounded. Segal was abducted along with his wife, Aviva, from Kibbutz Kfar Aza on October 7th, 2023, when Hamas did its original attack. They were held in captivity together for 51 days before Aviva developed a dangerous stomach infection and was released as part of the ceasefire deal in November 2023. I just don't know what kind of Keith we're going to get back, Aviva told Fox News in December. I'm worried about all the hostages because the conditions they were in were the worst conditions that any human should go through, she added. I was there. I touched death. I know what it feels like being underneath the ground with no oxygen. Declan Chen was one of the first people to spot the approaching Hamas incursion at the kibbutz Nir Oz on the morning of October 7th and raised the alarms to his neighbors before locking his wife and children away in their family's safe room. He went back outside into harm's way to help the kibbutz security team and was last heard about at 9:30, according to the Times of Israel. His father, a Connecticut native, Jonathan Deckel Chen, said that his son's family heard him battling the terrorist. My daughter-in-law and the kids are now traumatized, the father said. Avital heard her husband struggling in hand-to-hand combat. Alexander grew up in New Jersey but was serving in the Israeli Defense Forces when Hamas attacked last year. He was seen in a Hamas propaganda video early December, marking his 420th day in captivity, which his family took as a hopeful sign that he was still alive. Young men and soldiers like Alexander are expected to be released with a second wave of hostages, and his father is still hopeful to see his son again soon. It's a long time coming. Enough is enough. We've been so close before, and I'm happy that this time we'll be able to pass it over the finish line. His father, Adi Alexander, told the Post Wednesday. The ceasefire deal is set to open a 42-day pause in the fighting, including 3 phases of hostage releases in return for freeing Hamas prisoners. Of the 97 hostages still in captivity, only about 60 are believed to be alive. So this is still an absolute, fluid situation. And I wish I had more words of wisdom to give you about this, but I don't. And this has been a problem for a big time. And if much smarter people than me can't figure this out, then I really, really don't know what to tell you guys other than let's hope this works out and these hostages get to go home. Lord Chippy attendants, I do invite you to come right on down because we have a contestant. This heifer, I'm glad I got my scepter out. This absolute heifer. Have to put on my tiara again. By the powers of Monus in the Church of Mo, as Empress of the Pettyverse and General Queen of Indiana, I excommunicate yourself from the lady, female, woman commune. We don't accept you. You are now simply a human. You are trash. We don't like you. Goodbye. I must have my scepter on me at all times. I really must have a display case. A New Jersey elementary teacher named Lauren Karen SA'd and had a child with a former student, 13, who had lived with her. Prosecutors say. This gross, disgusting trash human. A New Jersey elementary teacher allegedly had a child with one of her former students, aged 13, who lived with her for several years, and was caught when the teen's father noticed the similarity between his son and the child on social media. Dude, where were you? As the father, where the F were you that this woman... You're testing the Jesus in me. You are testing the Jesus in me. Laura Karen, a 5th grade teacher, is accused of SAing her ex-pupil when they lived together in her home between 2016 and 2020. The Cape May County Prosecutor's Office revealed Wednesday. Karen, 34, first met her victim when she taught him and his brother 5th grade at Middle Township Elementary School in southern New Jersey. The boy was born in 2005, and his family remained close with their former teacher. His parents also allowed their son and daughters to sleep over at the teacher's house a couple nights a week, according to ABC6. The 3 siblings lived permanently with Karen between 2016 and 2020, sharing a bedroom. During that time, the teacher allegedly had inappropriate relations with her former pupil and later became pregnant. She gave birth to this child in 2019. The student's father pointed out the uncanny similarity between Karen's child himself and his son on a Facebook post in December 2024. The boy's sister told prosecutors she remembered going to sleep with her brother in the same room, but woke to find him sleeping in Karen's bed, the outlet reported. Now, the unidentified girl claimed that Karen began sleeping with her brother when he was 11. Ew. Just things that make you go, ugh. Investigators found that the teen's brother had once seen Karen SAing his sleeping brother. That unidentified teen victim, who is now 19 to 20 years old, revealed to investigators that the sexual relationship with Karen and that he had fathered his former teacher's child. The two remained in contact until his father made the December Facebook post. Police arrested Karen at her home on Wednesday and charged her with aggravated SA, and endangering the welfare of a child. She is being held at the Cape May County Correctional Facility without bond until her initial court appearance, according to prosecutors and court records reviewed by the Post. This arrest underscores the unwavering commitment our office and law enforcement partners have to protect children in our community, the Cape May County prosecutor Jeffrey Sutherland said. Teachers hold a position of great trust, and the allegations in this case represent a deeply troubling breach of trust. We will work tirelessly to ensure justice is served and to support the victim and their family throughout this process. The Middle Township School District placed Karen on paid administrative leave. Well, isn't that special? The school district said it was cooperating with investigators. Yeah, how did DYCF not ask any questions about how this heifer got 3 children to live with her? Then it doesn't seem like there's a Mr. Creepy teacher involved. So when this heifer comes up pregnant and it looks exactly like El Kiddo, no one asked daggone questions. This child's 4 damn years old. No one's asked any questions. I'm gonna need people to be fired over this. I really do. Well, looks like there is more information about the fires. LA Mayor Karen Bass failed to deploy highly trained $1 million crisis response team to help fight wildfires. Because, why not? Honestly. A crisis response team reporting to LA Mayor Karen Bass with hundreds of trained volunteers and nearly $1 million budget languished on the sidelines for a week as the city endured its most devastating natural disaster ever, the Post learned. The embattled mayor's apparent failure to quickly deploy these key support resources is the latest in a series of botched leadership decisions that have characterized her response to the Palisades fire, which has killed 9 people, wiped out thousands of homes, and engulfed an area half the size of Brooklyn, New York. The mayor's office did not begin putting the volunteers to work helping victims until Tuesday, after the Post began asking questions about why its volunteers were idle. This team is more well-funded than any in the country, and it's still sitting on its hand, not responding at all, one longtime volunteer told the Post. I'm stunned by this. Days after the fires broke out, volunteers were notified in an email from an interim director, Eduardo Almo, that their services had not been requested. In a follow-up email, the program manager, Anne Vicione, reiterated to volunteers, at this time we are not deploying to shelters or community resource centers. Almo and Vicione have both declined to comment. Joseph Alvios, who served as the director for the Mayor's Crisis Response Team, or CRT, for the last 13 years until Bass fired him last May, told the Post he was shocked the team had not received a call out. Typically, text, voicemail, and email is sent to its 250 members. Then I got some phone call from current CRT members saying that they're still on standby and not involved yet. Quite honestly, I don't understand why. Amid the fires, multiple volunteers continue to receive text notification for deployment to smaller tragedies like track pick crashes, but nothing for the fire victims. Aveos says that large call-out was necessary for major incidents to quickly identify who was able to swing into action and when. The LAFD spokesperson, Margaret Stewart, also said she was unaware of CRT being put into action by the mayor's office. The Los Angeles Mayor's Crisis Response Team was created in 1992 to work with victims of fires, crimes, and other incidents. The group has previously responded to major tragedies like the 2023 Monterey Park mass shooting. It has trained its volunteers to offer immediate on-scene practical and emotional support to survivors, according to the CRT website. Team members are trained in everything from staffing evacuation centers to providing psychological first aid to survivors. The Palisade and Eaton fires, which broke out on January 7th, have resulted in at least 25 deaths and have damaged or destroyed more than 10,000 homes and businesses. The mayor's crisis response team should have been deployed in this incident because of the multiple fatalities they have, said former LAFD Battalion Chief Rick Crawford. The mayor doesn't have to wait for a request. She has all the authority to deploy them at their discretion, noted Crawford, who left the LAFD earlier this year and is now the Emergency Crisis Management Coordinator for the U.S. Capitol. The volunteer organization operates out of the Mayor's Office of Public Safety and reported to LA Mayor of Public Safety Brian Williams. However, Williams was placed on administrative leave in late December after the FBI raided his home over a explosives threat he made against City Hall. CRT also has no permanent director despite a job posting that went up last year. One of Williams' staffers, Christopher Anyanko, denied that the organization was sidelined, saying that the CRT is currently helping at the Disaster Recovery Center. However, he did not address why emails were sent to volunteers saying the group was not being activated. A BAS spokesperson said the team is working right now. I mean, not yesterday, but I got him there in time-ish, but did not specify when the volunteers were mobilized. We're grateful that they answered our call to serve, the statement says. And if you guys had your eye set on a particular masterpiece done by blowing paint through a straw, well, I'm afraid I've got some terrible news for you. Hunter Biden artwork worth millions of dollars to someone destroyed in the LA fires. Damn, the humanity, not Hunter Biden's blue period. What will he do? We have to wait till he goes into impressionism. Maybe too sarcastic, but seriously, this is what you want to bitch about? A trove or a pile of nearly 200 artworks by Hunter Biden has been destroyed. One of the casualties of the wildfires ravaging Los Angeles, the Post has learned. The controversial art had been stored near the Pacific Palisade home of Hunter's Hollywood attorney, Kevin Morris, and was valued at millions of dollars, a source close to the Biden family said. The controversial Morris, who loaned the first son nearly $5 million to help pay a tax bill and has been financing a documentary on him, lives in a sprawling 5-bedroom, 6-bathroom, house, among a few of them that are still intact in the posh neighborhood. Darn, Morris could not be reached for comment Wednesday. Last week, as the fires began to rage, President Biden said that his son's home in nearby Malibu may still be intact. Today, it appears that it's standing. They're not sure. A lawyer for Hunter Biden, who is a self-taught artist, just like I'm a self-taught, belly dancer, doesn't mean I did a good job teaching my own self. Turned to painting while in recovery from addiction and did not immediately return a request for comment. Now, all Queen of the Pettyverse, Empress of Snark aside, if art helps people dealing with substance abuse to get away from substance abuse, I am all for it. If it helps, fill that void and gives you something constructive, I am there for it. I want people to be free of their addictions. This guy is just a douche, though. I think we can all say it, and it's not from a political bent, but when you start to mac on your dead brother's wife, look, I just lose a whole lot of respect for you. A Soho gallerist who represented the first son's work and has organized solo shows of his paintings in Los Angeles and New York from 2021 said he broke ties with Hunter last year. I don't know what's happening with the art, the gallery owner George Bears said. I have some of his work on canvas and some metal pieces, not mental pieces, metal, in the gallery. Hunter's art pieces have been priced as high as $500,000 each. Y'all, would you pay $500,000 for this mental institution photo? I like how the colors pop, but I ain't paying $500K for that. Heck, Hobby Lobby can barely get me to buy something on normal price. I do not buy one damn thing from Hobby Lobby unless it is on the 50% thing. So hell no, Mr. Biden. I'm glad you're not addicted no more, but those are paintings I will not be buying. Ooh, it looks like Mr. Berg's, though, has a little bit of shade because Hunter's price or pieces have been priced as high as 500K, but the average price is closer to 85,000. Still redonkulous, but love that he's selling on a discount. Morris bought $875,000 worth of Hunter's artwork via bears. One of them was flowers on Japanese paper. Now, there you go. Unfortunately, we may never ever be able to get this sort of wonderful painting styles again, but we do have photos we can member. Well, this douche is no longer running. A man convicted of unaliving his wife in front of their children after spending months on the run following a skipped trial date. Yeah, you can't really skip out on those murder charges, sir. A Georgia jury this week convicted a man who skipped a court hearing and spent more than a year on the run avoiding charges that he unalived his wife in front of their young children in 2017. Jonathan Bates was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his wife, Sydney Bates, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and WSB report. He was also convicted of manslaughter, aggravated assault, and cruelty to children. As Long Crime previously reported, the Dawson Sheriff's Office and U.S. Marshal Service arrested Bates in April. A bench warrant had been out for Bates's arrest ever since he failed to show up to court on October 2022. Excuse me. Bates is accused of killing his wife, Sydney Bates, 28, at their home in Dallas, Georgia, May 2017. Now, according to his indictment, he allegedly pushed her, causing her to fall and hit her head on the love seat. Now, the incident allegedly happened in front of the couple's children, aged 4 and 7. Sydney Bates was later declared brain dead and passed away at the hospital. Now, I know as someone who has a lot of children that just falling into a love seat is not going to damage your skull to the point that you have internal pressure, cranial hemorrhage, and, death. So he did more than push her, but this is what he was saying. Now, Jonathan Bates allegedly told, the officer that he had pushed her when she tried to hug him. She had previously accused him of DV and told family members she was planning for a divorce. Cops arrested him, but in June 2017, a judge said there was not enough evidence for the case to move forward on the murder charges and bound over the case only for simple battery, a decision that outraged Cynthia Bates' family members. Her kids are lost without her, Bates' sister, Sandy Dement, told Atlanta's WSB. Her family's lost without her. We don't get to talk to her anymore. WSB reported that the judge had ties to Jonathan Bates's family. He later recused himself. A grand jury later indicted Jonathan Bates and restated the murder charges. He posted a $16,500 bond, which led to him skipping the October 2022 court hearing. Now, his lawyers claim that his wife's death was an accident. I doubt it. I'll have to look into this case, but there is something not adding up. It would have to be she hits something very hard because I just don't see if you push someone into a love seat, how this all goes down. Well, parents with kiddos going into college and welcome MLS, Fun Diane. Hey, Joe, Swifty, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Whippets are back, y'all. Now, I didn't know that they had ever left. Being a goody two-shoes up until my late 30s, I have no idea what it is, but they're back. They're back again. Guess who's back? Whippets back. College kids, an old drug, and why it's everywhere again. Well, I'm going to blame Starbucks and the Food Channel. An old drug has taken on new popularity, and doctors are concerned. Once known by nicknames like laughing gas and hippie crack, the inhalant nitrous oxide, a sedative commonly used by healthcare providers, is getting attention online. In a TikTok with over 4.4 million views, Hootie Hurley, one half of a touring DJ group that frequently performs fraternity shows, talked about watching inhalant abuse unfold at a fraternity house. Quote, we walked into the president's chambers at the fraternity, and there's three dudes carrying like butane tanks, Hurley said. And they're going, keep going, keep going, keep going, as a student huffs the gas. Hurley said he witnessed the student pass out for several seconds, and he later met a woman in the evening who was also huffing, which illustrated to him that the behavior wasn't contained to a single group of students or the fraternity. Inhalant abuse is not new, but drug abuse experts say that the prevalence of smoke shops and accessibility of online shopping have made it easier for people to purchase nitrous oxide containers in large quantities. As young people grapple with mental health issues and pressures of being young adults, social media posts about huffing have emboldened teens to try it and contributed to its normalization. Nitrous oxide is a short-acting sedative that slows down the nervous system by restricting oxygen flow to the brain, producing a high. The substance produces vapors that can lead to short-term impaired vision and speech, as well as nausea and drowsiness. I mean, it sounds like it would be not fun. Like, yeah, you get high for a couple seconds, but then you're nauseous and you're all ick-filled. Call me crazy, doesn't seem like a cost-benefit analysis works. It can also have dangerous side effects like heart failure and long-term memory problems, attention and judgment issues, according to the National Institute of Drug Abuse. Long-term use of inhalants is also associated with mood and anxiety disorders such as depression. For really high volume, long-term use, it's actually a nerve conduction function impairment, some cognitive function impairment, says the Cleveland Clinic pediatric pulmonologist, Dr. John Carl. The drug is often sold in small containers called whippets or whippets, nicknamed after the aerosol chargers that propel whipped cream out of a canister, but some users, like the students Hurley referenced in the video, inhale gas directly from large tanks, increasing the effects. Selling and purchasing nitrous oxide for its intended purpose is legal, but some states have outlawed recreational use of the gas. The Food and Drug Administration regulates nitrous oxide under Food and Drug Cosmetic Acts. So there you go. Now, it is not the first time that the drug has gone viral. During Mardi Gras last February, videos showed thousands of steel cartridges lining Tulane University frat houses. I had no idea what whippets were before I came to Tulane, said Tulane sophomore Aaliyah Sachu, who added the streets near campuses are full of empty little metal containers during the celebration. It's just something that I have become used to at this point. That's just the culture at Tulane. West Virginia University also recorded a spike in mouth and throat injuries in October 2024 due to inhalant abuse and warned students of potential frostbite and chill burns around the mouth and throat, fingers as the result of the low temperature of nitrous oxide. Okay, so there you go. It's been around for decades. It does look like it is gaining in prevalence. So if you have teens or, preteens or, well, sassy 10-year-olds, maybe tell them about this. Tell them that you don't look cool. And look, you're already a teenager. You're already going to do stupid stuff. Do you really want to make yourself dumber? This is why we can't have nice things. You guys, I'd have never thought of this, and I always wanted to get a bunch of these because I love the Food Network. So when Mr. Mo saw me putting a bunch of these cartridges in because I wanted to have my own little whipped cream thing, and he's like, kids use these to get, enhanced. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like I said, you guys, I was the howdy doody until about my late 30s. So I was like, they do. I just wanted to make whipped cream. In a sad but yet another, Mr. Jack Hoffman, we are sorry for your loss, but what a wonderful story and a great show, and rest in peace. I'm keeping my scepter. I'm going to carry it into Walmart, just bless and curse people at the same time. Ever had one of those days where you're just kind of in, like, full falling down mode? You're just like, "Try me, someone try me. I dare you." Don't know why I'm in that particular mood today, of no, predicate sort of to this sort of feeling, but I am in full falling down F it mode today. Full F deficit, if you will, and absolutely no idea. But let's get to the story. Jack Hoffman, a young cancer patient who captured the hearts of Nebraska and the nation with a 2013 touchdown run, has passed away. And this was the young man in that's him running. Oh, he's so cutie patootie. Jack Hoffman, the cancer patient who captured the hearts of Nebraska football fans and inspired the nation as a 7-year-old when he ran for a touchdown during the Cornhuskers' 2013 spring game, has passed away at the age of 19. Yeah, I probably would. Dang it. No one understands that I really am royalty from the Pettyverse. Kylie Dockert, executive director of Team Jack Foundation, said Hoffman passed away of brain cancer early Wednesday at his home in Atkinson, Nebraska. Medical tests in October confirmed a new and more aggressive tumor had developed. Hoffman initially was diagnosed in 2011. His parents, Andy and Bree Hoffman, were the driving force behind Team Jack, the foundation, which supports pediatric brain cancer research. Andy Hoffman was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2020 and passed away at the age of 42 on March 1st, 2021. Jack was a passionate Nebraska football fan, and shortly after his diagnosis, he struck up a friendship with Huskers running back and future NFL player Rex Burkhead. The nation was introduced to Jack at Nebraska's 2013 spring game after the coaching staff invited him to run a play in the fourth quarter. Wearing a miniature Burkhead uniform, he took a handoff from Taylor Martinez and scooted 69 yards to the end zone. Players on both sidelines poured onto the field and followed him across the goal line and mobbed him, lifting him on their shoulders to the delight of the crowd of 60,000. ESPN and national news networks showed the video of Jack's touchdown run for several days, and it received millions of views on YouTube. 3 weeks later, Jack, his family, and Burkhead visited President Barack Obama for 15 minutes in the Oval Office. Obama presented Jack with a new football and told him he was proud of him. A few months later, Jack's touchdown won ESPN's 2013 ESPY Award for Best Moment in Sports. Jack went on to play on the line of Atkinson High School football team. He graduated in May and was a pre-law major at the University of Nebraska at Kearney. God damn it, cancer. Just damn it. We need to fix this. We need to fix this. We need to put our money where our mouth is and get cancer. In the words of South Park, let's make cancer want to unalive itself like bullying. Because I'm kind of there for that now. This broke my heart. Dang it. Just when I thought I had all my feelings suppressed, they leak out. Well, we do have a palate cleanser story, though this will probably be a sad one too, just to screw with me. My dad was a famous alien abductee. I thought he was a joke, but here's why I'm not so sure anymore. Okie dokie. There is one video available on the internet concerning my father, Patrick McGuire. It's strange, uploaded to YouTube 15 years ago, though clearly recorded much earlier. Welcome, Iron Rabbit and Ryan. Good morning. The video frames another TV screen. There is a constant static, and the image is fractured as if the broadcast comes from far away. My father is discussing cattle mutilations under hypnosis. Quote, "We come upon a cow that was dead. They cut the nose off, tongues out, and the sex organs were gone," he recounts as though he's sleepwalking through a nightmare. He goes on to describe in great detail a spaceship that landed on his ranch, took members of his herd, and their distant, terrified animal cries filling those dark prairie nights. One comment below the video reads, "Having lived and worked with cowmen, you can imagine this guy going town to town after this got out publicly. I mean, they're a finicky bunch to say the least." I don't have to imagine. I grew up with him walking through our western town, his life by then fractured by that broadcast. He was completely destitute, picking through my classmates' garbage, and when the classmate came to school the next day, they told me what they saw. Their grin and subsequent laughter left little to the imagination. However, when I joined in with their laughter, that commenter was right. We are a finicky bunch, to say the least. On May 14th, 2009, my father passed away in a Colorado hospital due to cancer. He was 67. I did not speak to him before he died. His last years were spent in homelessness, though he hadn't always lived this way. His last words, so I heard, were about grand conspiracies and sinister deep states, though he hadn't always spoken about such topics. My father's legacy in our small Wyoming town and inside our family is stained with his tales of alien abduction, interstellar prophecy, and the insistence that he was chosen, though he had not always been chosen. There was a time before my birth when he was obsessed with the lore of his rural community, the sprawling complexities of high school dances, and the schemes of enlarging his Roman Catholic family. He was normal, caring, and complete. That's when the stars came knocking. When I first saw the bold headline, "Intelligence officials say U.S. has revealed a retrieved craft of non-human origin," published June 5th, 2023, in the debrief, I initially didn't think about whether the headline was true. I didn't contemplate what the recovered crafts might look like, or that not human was just another euphemism for the same thing we'd been talking about since 1947. I thought about my father. I can see him now as though he were alive today, black cowboy hat tilted, face tanned and cracked from high plains sun, saying, "Who's laughing now? I'm not laughing anymore, not because I know what that headline is saying is absolutely true, and poof, lies just around the corner. I'm not laughing because I should have never laughed in the first place." In 2017, the New York Times broke news about a previously unknown Pentagon department, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or AATIP. This department was involved in investigating what were formerly called UFOs. Thank you, Audio Coffee. We appreciate you. We all know that the aliens lock their doors and go past at double warp speed when they come by our little insanity planet. Now they are referred to as unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP, more shifting euphemisms and acronyms for us to track. Since then, news surrounding these phenomenons has steadily grown. There was a congressional hearing in 2022, the creation of a government department called the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, and NASA hearing devoted to encountered or not encountered UAPs. And now a new whistleblower, former intelligence official and AATIP task force member David Grush, claims government cover-up. Quote, "These programs are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will. Non-human exotic origin vehicles have either landed or crashed," end quote, he stated to News Nation recently. What once seemed to be the premise for the next X-Files reboot has become front-page news, gaining mainstream consideration by Sirius, by the rational, the institutional, and the scientific. It's strange to be here in this cultural moment. I think many people feel that to some degree. Whether this is all true or not, it is unmooring to read that U.S. Senator Kristen Gillibrand is demanding disclosure uh, on a subject that only a decade ago would have been political suicide to even Yes, it is UAP. My personal belief is there's some very compelling evidence that we may not be alone. It's surreal, and stranger still is reading about government UFO agencies and black money in the New York Times. D.W. Polska, author of 2019 book American Cosmic, an exploration for our cultural interaction with the UFO phenomenon, recently referred to this specific whistleblower event and the preceding media coverage as a paradigm shift, a fundamental change in the way we conceptualize an issue. That is, she explained, there is a huge pressure from the fringe, the marginal sources that finally initiate a shift in consensus. And there is an unexpected change in our current moment from the one that preceded it, though it now feels to me, perhaps given my family history, more than most, that there has also been an unexpected change in the past. The stigma against people who believe in UFOs may go back to the very birth of the topic itself. When first reports of UFOs, described by Kenneth Arnold, went from saucer, disc, and pie pan to sensational terms like flying saucers in the press, for which Arnold later stated, I, of course, suffered some embarrassment here and there by misquotes and misinformation. From there, this subject expanded to include tropes like behind probes, stock characters in films lining their lonely, manic lives in houses crisscrossed with spider webs of yarn. Abductees have been satirized on Saturday Night Live and popular beer commercials. Even famed Harvard psychologist Richard J. McNally stated in his past clinical research to the abduction phenomenon. Swear, English first and only language. Some days I just can't get it. We have a lot of those in our family. Just left a UFO in the truck stop, unwanted fart occurrence, a lot of green people. Totally understand. In his past clinical research into the abduction phenomenon, that it occasionally took a researcher several tries to record these abduction narratives properly. He would sometimes burst out laughing while trying to record these stories with the necessary solemnity. Insecurity and mockery have shrouded the subject so thoroughly that NASA recently shared at a hearing that the stigma associated with reporting UFO sightings, as well as harassment of people who work to investigate them, may be hindering efforts to determine their origins. I know that stigma well, having experienced it from both sides. My father was born and raised in Wyoming and was a rancher like his father and his grandfather. He nestled into the Western community that branded their cattle and youth alike with abstract symbols, that found definition in regularity of rain and saw acreage as an inappropriate subject to discuss openly. Quote, asking me about the size of a man's spread is about asking to look at his checkbook, end quote, he said to me once, laughing. And one local recently told me he could break a horse like nobody's business. He was real sharp like that. Shame what happened to him. My father saw UFOs. Not once, like a dinner guest might claim after a few glasses of wine, but many times. Numerous UFOs all at once, up close, lingering in the western Wyoming sky like a nightmare that refused to dissipate come sunrise. In 1981, on primetime television show for NBC, That's Incredible, my father's story gained national attention as he related under hypnosis the specifics of his abduction claims and the demands aliens had made upon his life. Excuse me. On March 5th, 1980, airing of ABC's Eyewitness News, he reported that the UFOs had landed on his ranch somewhere around 25 to 30 times, and witnesses were present, quoted as saying they saw two or three of them on the land at several times, and we stayed and watched the sun come up and saw two of them in daylight, hovering in two separate places. A headline in March 24th, 1981 National Enquirer reads, Farmer, aliens use my ranch as their landing space, and reports that local newspaper and television reporters have also seen strange lights darting over the McGuire Ranch. There appeared to be no shortage of witnesses to what was happening on his land. While we cannot be certain what we saw, Casper Star Tribune investigative reporter Greg Bean wrote on June 29th, 1980, "None of us left the McGuire farm with as much skepticism as we arrived with. Perhaps we can return." My father's claims continued under hypnosis with famous UFO psychologist R. Leo Sprinkle. Terrible name if you're going to be looking up alien stuff. You already have a subject most people don't, buy into. And then as a psychologist, your surname is Sprinkle. It's just not going to work out for no one is going to believe you even if you were Mensa. Now, he recounted abductions by star people who demanded his actions in conjunction with their plan for humanity. These star people told him of a coming climate apocalypse. Following this hypnosis, a mere handful of years, he was completely destitute without home or family, and he claimed that government sources were keeping him that way because of what he saw and said. This story is irregular in the UFO community. In fact, the story of Grush, the whistleblower, is no surprise to the community. The folks who do believe and respect my father, covert conspiracist, recovered crafts, Nazi research, and non human origins, almost everything the whistleblower related, my father related to me in similar fashion at some point in my life. From the earliest points in my childhood, I was told that UFOs were nothing to make light of. At every turn, nightfall, through any locked door, the star people could take anyone, even me. What a terrible way to have to live. You don't put big adult fears on kiddos, even if you think the star people are coming to get you. Parenting advice from Mo. Even if you do know of an incoming alien apocalypse, try not to scare your children. My father's description of the star people, my subsequent nightmares, matched with what our culture has come to expect: 5 foot hairless beings with eyes like colorless pools hovering beside my bedside. Soon, classmates and teachers alike were smirking at my fears, and then, like any social contagion, I began to smirk too. Then TV took over for my teachers, and South Park, Coneheads, and Mars Attacks taught me that this was indeed a laughing matter. My brothers and I laughed when our father talked about the implants and their accompanying pain. We laughed when he claimed that he could barely walk after what the star people did to him. We laughed when he said he was suing the government for the land they took from him, for destroying his life, for destroying our lives. We laughed, the world laughed. If you were not one to laugh about UFOs, then you didn't say anything at all, and if you did, you hesitantly considered the person you were talking to first, making sure they wouldn't laugh at you too before you said anything at all. For many, it was a precarious high wire if one was to discuss the trauma of the phenomenon or its reality. When we weren't getting our meals at school, my father often took us to local soup kitchen in the basement bunker of the local town Episcopal cathedral. I remember best the dampness of the walls, the claustrophobia of the dining, elbow to elbow with other folks wearing the financial storms outside. Breaking expired bread. I love this, but this is a daggone novel. We're 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 holding out. We're gonna finish this, but the rest are gonna be for nightly newsy news. Let's see here. Breaking expired bread to share over lentil soup, we were often the only children in attendance. For most of the diners, this was the last place to go. The person across from me would make small talk between spoonfuls, but nothing of weather or local gossip. In the soup kitchen, we talked was about remote viewing, reverse engineering, and tapping into collective unconscious for cosmic spiritual growth. I would nod when feigned excitement, encourage them to continue and go deeper. What about the face of Mars? I would ask with a smile. My brothers and I would often fail to contain our laughter. As the world contemplates Grish's claims, I'm the one that feels ashamed. These potential findings mean only one thing to me. An accounting must be made. How should we address our past mockery and ridicule if it turns out that hidden in a desert base somewhere, there are indeed crafts, cadavers, and photos of strange visitors? Regardless of the origins of the metallic orbs, tic-tac crafts, flying saucers, and independent validity of Gersit's claims, we should feel impelled to investigate and rescue a community living with the trauma of the unknown and indescribable. a community we greeted with sneers and derision for so long, a community we pushed to the outskirts of our cultural limits to be safely ignored. And if it's all true, or it's all lies and sickness, we should approach both valuations with care and consideration, even skepticism, but not with the intense ridicule so many of us have been giving them for so long. I can't say for certain that the shift in the wider cultural acceptance of UFOs is already occurring in our institution, as some has beginning to, or institutions, as some have begun to state, but I can report what has occurred in my own consciousness. Since the 50s, intrepid investigators have spent their whole lives and careers dedicated to the phenomenon of UFOs and abductions. And here we are, possibly closer to the truth than ever. And yet somehow I no longer, or somehow I feel no closer to understanding my father. I was not at his side when he lay on his deathbed by choice, a choice I made seemingly as a child and never reassessed. I chose not to hear his last words, and that's hard for me to accept. Although delusions are commonly encountered in schizophrenia and affective disorder, it turns out that anyone can have them. Marizan Banjai and John Kilstrom stated in their 1996 research titled The Ordinary Nature of Alien Abduction Memories. They are natural byproducts for our attempts to explain unusual things that happen to us. As has been the tradition with this topic, I have little certainty about what happened to my father. I can only say something unusual happened to him, and he spent the rest of his life trying to make sense of it, and now I will spend the rest of my life trying to make sense of him. So, an interesting story. Yes, Tammy, I did get a hold of him. Thank you. I don't have the answer, you guys. I am I do feel sad for this gentleman, and I hope he makes peace with his relationship or lack thereof with his father at some point. I do have a final story. I was wondering how much longer that was going to go. Where was it? Oh, here. A feel good story to end the morning. Gen Z flocks to Central Park to have their photo taken by viral Polaroid guy. It's picture day. Welcome, Shizzy Raiders. Gen Z, oh, I already read the title. Doggone it. Monday-est Thursday ever. Even in the age of the iPhone, the Instagram generation is lining up in Central Park to have a picture of themselves taken with a Polaroid. Sophia Ballou is one of them. While the 19-year-old may have been born after instant film cams were retired and replaced by digital, she's enamored by the vintage-looking film prints. The Australian tourist flew from Sydney to Manhattan to get a taste of the Big Apple, and a must-see on her TikTok-compiled itinerary was paying a visit to Brian Fass, the internet-famous Polaroid photographer stationed in Central Park. It's just so authentic, Bayou said of the square printouts. Looking back on memories, it's a genuine trinket of something that was a moment from time. She added, my kids are going to look back on that and say, that's me in New York. It's part of the allure for the digital savvy generation who rarely have physical printed images now that smartphones can catalog thousands of images on a pocket-sized device. And just like the vinyl records, tapes, and other vintage tech, 20-somethings are clamoring for tangible 3x3-inch pop culture phenomenon from the 1970s. I'm waiting for turnstiles and boom boxes to come back. I need every single young man from the city to now start walking around with a boom box. If we're bringing them back, I want breakdancing, I want the Ninja Turtles, and I need Weird Al playing Fat in the background on a loop. Just asking for a friend. It's nice to have a picture, a physical picture, rather than something on your phone, 23-year-old James Smithson, who was visiting New York City from the UK with Brooke Clandish, 24, told the Post, calling it an old-fashioned thing. There's nothing else like it around, Clandish chimed in, calling Fass a real-life photo booth. Wait till they realize that we invented latchkey children before them. Fast 56 has been stationed at the mall in Central Park for a decade, but has recently garnered online acclaim thanks to Gen Z fans who rave about the $20 photo op on TikTok. That's the only reason we came here to Central Park, Klinish, who discovered Fast through TikTok, told the Post while standing on the promenade on the particularly frigid Sunday morning. Aw, they're so cute. Over the past year, business has boomed for the native New Yorker, lovingly named the Central Park Polaroid guy, and often attracts long lines and even the occasional celebrity like Pierce Brosnan once handing over Andrew Jackson for a close-up. In fact, just last month he set a personal record for the number of instant images snapped in a single day, 220. To date, he estimates he snapped anywhere from 25,000 to 30,000 Polaroid pictures in the park, where he sets up shop 4 days a week. While foot traffic varies depending on weather and time of day, the part time gig is still his main moneymaker. It's nice to know that people are embracing physical feature or pictures, Fass, who declined to disclose his yearly earnings, told the Post. I'm giving people instant mementos and they'll have a physical picture that they can hold. Why you gotta ask him about his money? He's making bank. Also, don't hate the player, hate the game. You go get your own Polaroid picture if you want to ask him how much he's making. This man is riding this man is driving a Benz out of the park, just driving back rolling. Joking. 10 years ago, he was when he charged just $5 for a shot, he was using his instant portraits business as a way to market his park photography. However, the Upper East Side native who grew up just 1 block from Central Park said that the Polaroids took off and no one noticed my photography. In his tenure capturing fleeting moments on film, Fass has been witness to anniversary celebrations and even proposals. Some loyal patrons return year after year as an annual tradition. Georgia couple Bella Katzmark, 22, and Caleb Alderman, 23, have posed for a photograph 2 years in a row on the exact same date, their anniversary. Last year, we were walking through the park, and I was like, I've seen the Polaroid guy. Let's go to him. Katzman told the Post. It hangs on my fridge now. We're going to add this one to our collection, Alderman said. Meanwhile, local Danielle Carolan calls it Picture Day. She and her boyfriend Ryan now boast a collection of Polaroids from Fass. Now we're at senior year, the content creator joked to the Post about her 4 photo series. It's just a cute little thing. Now I want to crochet my own dress. Carol feels the couple has countless shots together, but those physical photos are really, really special. It just feels like in a world of Instagram and TikTok and all these online platforms, I really don't have many printed out photos of him and I, she explained. I think this just kind of gives this wholesome feel that we don't get a lot. While it may seem ironic that a generation with a camera in their back pockets is clamoring for an old school photograph, Fast rejoices that young people are rediscovering the novelty of immediate film. I'm grateful they found it and that it's coming back. And we're not that far over, so I am going to give you a gross story too. Because y'all, I saw this and I was like, WTF. And I also have a story time because I don't want to start working on graphical stuff. From gross to gorgeous, how scientists transform fetid fatbergs into sweet-smelling perfume. What in the ambergris are we looking at? And why is he in a sewer? And I have all the questions, and I think that's a woman because I'm noticing a giant amount of rouge. But those look like man hands. Anyway, let's get to the story. Scientists are literally turning crap into gold after devising a way to convert foul smelling fatbergs into aromatic perfumes, effectively killing 2 birds with one giant stinky stone. I'm gonna stick with my body spray. Y'all have fun. I know it's basically just alcohol and chemicals and that, but whatever unholy lumpness that is, I guess I'm not gonna be getting any more Shalimar or Chanel number. Actually, okay, we need to have a tangent because I need to start for justice, for humanity, for all. When I am queen of the universe, we will outlaw those perfume snipers in the mall every damn time. Every damn time I go in there, and it is the most offensive old lady mothball learning, like, your eyes are watering, you're struggling to breathe, and you really want a hard candy for some reason because it reminds you of your grandma. Them women need to be stopped. Do not come at me with any of your perfume. I don't wanna smell it. I don't care. You look lovely today. Have a great day selling stuff. I am not buying any of your stuff. Okay, so let's see. What we've done is engineer bacteria to eat fatbergs and turn them into fragrance compounds used in products such as perfumes and shampoos. Oh, Lord. Lord, why you're gonna make me look at my label to make sure there's no turd perfume in my stuff now? Doggone it. Why not? Stephen Wallace, a professor of the University of Edinburgh, who proposed the unusual recycling measure, told Scotland's STV News. Fatbergs are created when people flush condoms, wet wipes, or other solid waste down the toilet, where they combined with congealed ick and cooking oil to form a behemoth blob. Ugh. The gargantuan grease balls, the largest ever discovered in 2017, measured 820 feet long, weighed 286,000 pounds, and can cause. Yes, it did. That is a fatberg. Now, apparently, it makes nice stuff that you put on your body to smell good. I am calling B flippin' S. I am calling BS. If it looks like this, I want it nowhere near shit I'm gonna have to pay $75 for in Sephora. You guys, they are gonna charge you a crap ton to buy this crap flavored scented stuff. We are being hosed right now. They're making turd balls into smell. Uh, Thames Water, which is responsible for wastewater treatment in London, reportedly spends over 22 million pounds per year cleaning obstructive globs, the Daily Mail reported. New York City's septic network is plagued with them as well. Following this plumbing system liposuction, the masses are traditionally sent to landfills for incineration. However, entrepreneurial scientist Wallace has proposed a new novel way to help with the malodorous or masses and leave the sewers smelling sweeter in one go. First, he will procure his fatbergs from a company that specializes in extracting them from pipes, after which he will steam them to kill harmful Why are you steaming? Look, now I am throwing this out here with all authority of a mother malodorous. Thank you, Bush McFadden. You know I can't pronunciate. Sir, I'm gonna need you to come right to the head of yonder congregation and explain to me what gave you this idea, because I wanna know how high and or drunk you were when you had this sudden thought pop into your head. Do you know if I should take fatbergs from the sewer? Do I find YouTube stressful? Yes and no, I guess. Yes, just because I'm not as technical and I know I don't shine as well at the self-promotion and collaboration thing. So it is difficult because I can say that I have general weaknesses in a lot of the things that I know I have to improve on. But just getting in front of the camera and doing this kind of stuff, no, it's my general lack of computer savvy and how to get, everything kind of coordinated and figuring out how to do a Discord night and finding time. So it's stressful in a different way. I never actively get stressed on a stream, But when I'm trying to create merch, there's a lot of cursing. When I'm trying to do an intro, those are the things that really stress me out. Time, yes, if I could just ignore my family at all times, I could get stuff done. I cannot. So let's see what happens after he steams the turd, as you do. The masses are then infused with a special strain of genetically engineered bacteria. What in the Jurassic Park? You are genetically engineering bacteria? Didn't we just have 2 damn years of having to socially distance and sit behind a plexiglass thing while the cashier touches all your groceries, but you have to make sure that you don't breathe near them? Don't make me take away your science license. What the hell? So, this genetically engineered bacteria eats away at the fatberg to produce a pine tree fragrance that is ubiquitous across the cosmetic industry. We know that bacteria loves fat, so we thought we would maybe be able to reprogram bacteria to eat the fatberg fats and transform them into something useful. He envisions treating sewage treatment facilities with his fatberg Febreze to reduce smells associated with them. Imagining these new bacteria living in sewers, breaking down fatbergs and turning them into sweet smelling chemicals. One way to think of fatbergs is as a poor man's version of ambergris, a waxy substance that's in a sperm's whale intestines that's used for perfumes and medicines. Along with creating sweet smelling sewage, Wallace's crapper to cologne proposal would also help negate the exorbitant cost of fatberg disposals. I like crapper to cologne. Make it you know what? I would vote for this proposal if you named it that. We really should start leading into the shit posting and sarcasm because I would vote for a flip ton of stupid if it had a real sarcastic motto, not gonna lie. Which is why I really shouldn't be trusted. So there you go. We are showing the cost can be offset and even increasing a product, from fatbergs that is useful and viable. Wallace said his team can't produce enough of the fragrance to be commercially viable, and they don't expect to see Ode de Fatberg at your local department store anytime soon. But his lab is working with UK partners to see if there could be a future. Either way, the bioengineering pioneer believes that it has the potential to be transformative as a solution to, infrastructure and things like that. And welcome, Winkle in Time and Betsy. Well, there you go. So, my story time for today. Now, I don't know if you ever have. I am not the most physically fit person and or coordinated, but when I was coming home from dropping the boys off from school, I had a Letitia Stalk moment. Because I walked up to my door and one of the boys, as they're walking out, as we're leaving our house, instead of locking the door on the top, he put the deadbolt out. So the door wasn't fully locked. And my cat is looking at me through my storm door, from my front door. And I figured he was giving me a clue, like there's someone in there or I needed to be worried. Now, why did my ridiculous behind sit there on my front porch in the cold ass cold, deciding I needed to figure out my strategy like I was a freaking pink Power Ranger. So I have my here not Stanley Cup with, Max on it because it was on clearance at Hobby Lobby. Now I decided this has some heft to it. So I was trying to remember Tableau from what I had seen on the commercials. But I was gonna take care. I was like, cross knee, cross knee." I was like, "Imma get this." So, I bust my ass into my house like I owe rent. I push that door all the way back, figuring someone's behind my door, and Imma get him if I just, do that. And I decide to yell out The most "please test me, I dare you" thing that I could think of. And I decided to yell out. I am ridiculous. I should have just called someone if I figured there was someone in my house, but I decided to yell out just to warn any potential robbler. I was like, "I am a genlennial. I am damn near 40 years old. I have 6 children, 5 cats, no patience, and I'm in full fuck deficit. So we wanna go." And I hear nothing. And of course, Dingus and the rest of the cats have circled around me to form a protective guard and or ask me if they can have second breakfast. Now, I'm going to pretend that they were there guarding me and not just using me for food. But they were all looking at me like, this heifer done gone crazy again. Maybe we can get second breakfast. Which personality is she using? So I am walking around my entire house and I do not do stairs very well. So I am slow cripple walking up my stairs to try to find this potential robber. And I I get all through the house. There's no one there. And I decided I would share it with you because if I'm gonna be that ridiculous and attempt to go, Stanley combat mode, I figured I'd tell you. But on hindsight, if I'd really thought that there was someone in my house, I should have just, called the cops. But imagine calling the cops and telling them you're pretty sure your sons didn't let anyone in, and you're not exactly sure what anyone would robble from your house aside from like collectible Sailor Moon stuff. So I didn't call because, yes, as they said for the, alien abduction guy, it's better to not be thought a moron than call the police. Okay, I would actually buy a Mr. Hanky cologne. I'd give it to Mr. Mo, I'd never let him use it, but if it came in a Mr. Hanky bottle, I would totally buy it. Again, so just, a now you know and an advice thing for you all. If you feel that your house is currently occupied by a robbler, perhaps call the police. Don't tell them that you're a pissed off genlennial mom, hormonal and on the loose. Though I think it would be terrifying. He probably saw the amount of wigs and ran out the damn house, if I'm gonna be honest. Or at least that's what I would actually, I'd steal all the wigs. But that's why I stay on the straight and narrow and don't go thieving, because I'd find some good wigs. But yes, I just decided to bust in their Dirty Harry style. I was like, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore." So yes, I am fully on Michael Douglas falling down mode today, and I wish I could explain to you why I'm there, because I love to have an explanation as to why I'm in full F deficit mode, but I can only assume that it is because I have mountains of laundry. Have a lovely day. I am sending you over to Nicholas. He is continuing the defamation trial, but if you would rather go somewhere else, let me tell you what else is going on today. We have Defense Diaries coming up, Utah versus Corey Richards motion. We have, let's see, Dolly is taking over Judge Fleischer stuff. And we have, that is pretty much it. I do believe that Ada K and Baker are still covering, uh, co respectively, the Jason Chen and Natalie Cochran murder. So, there are a lot of people to go follow. I do have to run all the errands today. There will be nightly newsy news, though, a little bit longer, a little expanded, because that is the goal, to get nightly newsy news back on track and ready to go. Have a wonderful day, and if no one's told you today, you're loved just the way you are. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but carry a can of bitch fire because we are all heading toward full fuck deficit mode. God bless you, and be safe if you're going to Walmart because that place is crazy. No one knows if they want Skippy or not Skippy, but they just want to sit in that damn aisle for 100 years. Bye, you guys.